Hi, OJ here. This is Perusia, and welcome back. If you're returning from the few days of posting that I've been doing for this 40-day Lenten Bible reflections, glad to have you here. This is day 9, Thursday, second Thursday of Lent. Let's dive right in to the scriptures. Okay. So, very, very coherent theme between the first reading to the responsorial psalm to the gospel. In the first reading, we get, it's from Esther, and she lay prostrate upon the ground together with her handmaids, and they're asking, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, help me who am alone and have no help for you, for I'm taking my life in my hand. Fast forwarding, O Lord, always free those who are pleasing to you. Now help me who am alone and have no one but you, O Lord my God. Okay, so that's the gist of what we're getting from the Esther reading. The psalm, Lord, on the day I called for help, you answered me. So again, goes right along with the Esther reading. And going to Matthew now, the gospel reading, Jesus says to his disciples, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open. You know, those are very popular readings. That's a really well-known reading. Seek and you shall find. Ask and it shall be given. But I think this is one of those readings that can be so misused, misinterpreted, misapplied into, incorrectly applied into your life. Because there's always that tendency to think of God as the genie. Hey God, you said, ask and you shall receive. What father would give? Where did it go? Which one of you would hand his son a stone when he asked for a loaf of bread, a snake when he asked for fish? So does that mean we can just ask for as much bread as we want, as much fish as we want from God? Not literally, but you know, metaphorically. And frankly, I don't think that's the way it works. And I think there are some preachers out there that you know, preach a prosperity gospel, and it's super misleading and very dangerous. It could be very dangerous for our faith. I was just talking to a friend of mine. You know, I'm not even going to go to the friend example. I'm going to go directly here. So, hard talk, difficult that is for me. My dad, for those of you who are personal friends, know that my dad passed away just a few months ago in October. And that was it was a cancer battle. It wasn't COVID. It was complications that occurred after cancer. And, you know, during the time that he was struggling, God, I hope I don't get emotional right now. During that time of struggle, everywhere, people from around the world, our friends and family, because, you know, we have friends in the Philippines, family in the Philippines, friends from all over the U.S., different countries. So many people were praying for him and praying that he gets well. And people would try to console me and say, you know, man, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. You know, just trust in God. It'll be all right. And you know what? It wasn't all right in the conventional sense. It did not turn out to be all well. He died. One temptation of a reaction there could be, God, what the heck, man? Like, I asked you to keep my father alive. You said, ask and you shall receive. That you wouldn't give me a rock if I asked for bread, but yet, where's my dad? He's gone. He's dead. That's one way. That could have been my reaction. That could have been a maybe even turning point in my faith life where, hey, when things got the worst, God didn't pull through. That could have been my heart's reaction. And there was temptations. There were times when I was like, what if he doesn't respond to my prayer? What if my dad does die? What does that mean in my faith? Like, does that mean God's not real? Does that mean he just doesn't give a crap? What does that actually mean? I'm so fortunate that that's not the direction that my mind and my heart took, that my spirit went a different way, went the opposite way. God was kind enough to grace me with certain realizations that were profound and significant and powerful enough to usher me out of that time of darkness. And now, not to be corny, but I feel like a phoenix rising out of the 2020 ashes. Here's the thing. God never wants us to suffer, necessarily, okay? He never wants anything that's bad for us. But His priority also isn't comfort. His priority isn't emotional comfort. His priority for us isn't material, physical comfort. None of those things is God's priority. As I've referenced before in some of the other talks, look what He did to His only Son. He sent His Son not to sit on a big throne and to be served by a bunch of people. He sent His Son to suffer and die, and that's His Son. We are adopted sons and daughters via Christ's adoption of us. And He loves us perfectly just as much as He loves His own Son. But if we are to look at whom we are supposed to model ourselves after, then we're not sitting in a throne of luxury here. That's not what Christ did. And when I think back on what happened with my dad, what the prayer that God was granting me was His will be done. And that will is to draw me, my family, our friends, hopefully closer to Him. Because that's the whole purpose of our entire lives. It's nothing else but to draw closer and closer and closer to God until we finally die and get fully reunited with our Creator. And in there, everything about our beings gets fulfilled. Everything, all the longings, everything becomes perfected into communing back with Him again. I don't know where that came from. So, what He did through this process, He isn't God. What God did through this process with my dad and Him slowly suffering and then ultimately dying, and us, the family, suffering with Him, was He made us lean towards prayer. He drew us closer. God drew me closer to God through this whole process. Just like He used things like that with my dad also. When my dad was almost about to lose a job, it drew him to daily mass more. When the cancer diagnosis hit, it drew my dad to more prayer, more mass also. And not that God is trying to strike us down with these infirmities and maladies and bad things in our life, but He uses these things that naturally occur as a way to, if we lift it up to Him, as a way to draw us back to Him. So, seek ye first has to come along with seek and you shall find. Let me make sure you understand that. When Jesus talks about seek ye first the kingdom of God, it has to go along with this asking and you'll be given, seeking you shall find, because what we ought to be seeking and what our hearts and spirits and souls are perpetually seeking is that unification. And if we become aware of that's ultimately what we're seeking, then this thing that Jesus says to His disciples, ask and it'll be given, seek and you'll find, He is always, perpetually, until we get there, gonna give us the means and whatever we need to get united back with Him. Everything else is less important. And that's just a reality of a Christian life. Everything else is less important than being reunited and one with our Creator. Man, why did I get emotional at the very end? It's so weird. Just a lot of things floating inside, I guess, when I talk about my dad suffering. But I hope that made sense. I hope I didn't just ramble on here. And I hope if you ever find yourself disappointed, oh God, I asked you for this, look for what He really was giving you. He didn't give you the job. He didn't give you the girlfriend. He didn't give you whatever. He didn't heal your loved one. But what did He try to give you instead in the process? Maybe you were the one asking for a snake, and He was trying to give you fish, but you didn't know how to recognize it. Leave in the comments below if you had an experience like this before. It'd be nice to share. And once again, if you find this video at all helpful, do not smash the like button. That might break your phone. Just gently tap it. And then share it with others if you think other people could benefit. Coping mechanisms when I'm trying to hold down the emotions. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. See you, manana.